This place fancies itself the world's greatest deliberative body, but we would be deceiving ourselves if we ignored the biggest debate that's been happening in America over the last 36 hours. A public elected official, the governor of one of the 50 states, has been defending a practice that is morally repugnant. The governor of Virginia has been defending a practice that is repugnant to civilized people across the entire world. Here's just one of the ugly nuggets from Ralph Northam, the governor of Virginia. Quote, "If the mother is in labor, the infant would be delivered. The infant would be kept comfortable. The infant would be resuscitated, if that's what the mother and the family desired. And then a discussion would ensue between the physician and the mother." Let's be really clear about what we're talking about here. We're talking about fourth trimester abortion, or what anyone in the normal world calls infanticide.
No exception. There was a very contentious committee hearing yesterday when Fairfax County Delegate Kathy Tran made her case for lifting restrictions on third trimester abortions, as well as other restrictions now in place. And she was pressed by a Republican delegate about whether her bill would permit an abortion even as a woman is essentially dilating, ready to give birth. And she answered that it would permit an abortion at that stage of labor. Do you support her measure and explain her answer?
Yeah, and I wasn't there, Julie, and I certainly can't speak for Delegate Tran, but I would tell you, first thing I would say, this is why decisions such as this should be made by providers, physicians, and the mothers and fathers that are involved. There are, when we talk about third trimester abortions, these are done with the consent of obviously the mother, with the consent of the physicians, more than one physician, by the way. And it's done in cases where there may be severe deformities, there may be a fetus that's non-viable. So in this particular example, if a mother is in labor, I can tell you exactly what would happen. The infant would be delivered. The infant would be kept comfortable. The infant would be resuscitated if that's what the mother and the family desired. And then a discussion would ensue between the physicians and the mother. So I think this was really blown out of proportion. But again, we want the government not to be involved in these types of decisions. We want the decision to be made by the mothers and their providers. And this is why, Julie, that legislators, most of whom are men, by the way, shouldn't be telling a woman what she should and shouldn't be doing with her body.
Or will you do research programs on babies where we tell poor women that, your baby died right when they were born, we're only going to keep the baby alive and sometimes kill them, sometimes harvest them, sometimes do experiments on them. So that's why a lot of nurses have noticed now that babies disappear at birth. They tell them, your baby died. That's why the governor said, who's actually organ harvesting doctor, he goes, we keep the babies alive after they're born and have a discussion. They are getting caught now because we've decompartmentalized.
Wait a minute. I'm confused at what you're saying.
See how it just never ends.
Yeah. What are you saying about babies? Like, what are they doing with babies?
You saw the governor of Virginia say, we keep babies alive after they're born and kill them, right?
Well, I didn't see that.
We keep them comfortable.
But I am very, very concerned with late-term abortions.
Well, this
very
is post-birth, Joe. So understand,
post-birth.
How much money do you think they get for a 7.5-pound baby they can keep alive for 2 weeks? And mama doesn't know.
Our next guest joins us for reaction and analysis, and she has powerful insight into the Born Alive bill because as a nurse, she claims to have witnessed babies being aborted alive without medical care. Jill Stanek is now the national campaign chair for the Susan B. Anthony list. Jill, thanks for being with us on this very busy pro-life week.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Can you briefly share with us what you witnessed as a nurse?
I was a nurse in 1999 at Christ Hospital in Elkhorn, Illinois, when I discovered the hospital was not only involved in late-term abortions, but sometimes babies survived. And if they survived, they were shelved to die in the soiled utility room. So one night a nursing coworker was taking a little abortion survivor, aborted at 21 weeks with Down syndrome, that's why he'd been aborted, to the soiled utility room to die, and I couldn't let him die alone. So I rocked him for the 45 minutes that he lived.
That changed the course of your life.
It did. In the course of 45 minutes, it made me a pro-life activist for sure.
And it was back in 2002, so
Right.
16 years ago, that President George W. Bush invited you to be with him when he signed the Born Alive Infants Protection Act. So how is the House bill different than that? What's the update?
Well, the Born Alive Infant Protection Act was just a definitions bill, defined what it means to be a legal person when born, and it says that you should be protected, but it didn't do anything more than that. So the Born Alive Abortion Survivors Act adds teeth to the Born Alive Act.
Okay.
And it says that abortionists and staff can be prosecuted, they might even be imprisoned and fined, and that moms can have civil opportunities to file civil lawsuits.
How many babies are born alive after an abortion attempt? What do we know about this?
Well, of course, the most obvious case is Kermit Gosnell in 2013 was convicted of murdering 3 babies after they were aborted alive, but his staff said there were many more. But there are other instances. For instance, 2005, a woman at an Orlando abortion clinic aborted her baby alive in a toilet and even called 911, and the clinic staff turned away the 911 personnel at the door. Baby lived for 11 minutes. Another case where an aborted baby in Hialeah, Florida, was zipped alive into a biohazard bag by the owner of the clinic. In Canada, we know of 500 documented cases between 2000 and 2009. So it is going on around us. There's definitely a need for this law.
This week, we are encouraging senators to take up the Pain-Capable Unborn Child Protection Act, which would ban abortions at 20 weeks. This, as the House will vote on the Born Alive bill. What's the strategy in pairing these two pro-life bills together?
Well, these are definitely companion bills. You know, the one bill bans abortions at 20 weeks. The other bill says that babies who survive abortions should be saved, and we're saying that we should combine these two and say that infants aborted alive should be protected, but then they also shouldn't be aborted in the first place. So most babies who are aborted alive are about 5 months old or older, and the Pain Capable Act would protect them.
And this is all, of course, happening the week of the March for Life. Why is that so significant?
Well, the March for Life, of course, signifies the dastardly Roe v. Wade decision in 1973, and so ever since then we've been trying to take back turf. And this is an instance when most Americans agree with us that late-term abortions are wrong, and polls show more women think that it's wrong than even men. So this is definitely an issue late-term abortion survivors and pain capable of being able to speak to the whole country and get the country on our side on this.
So when do we cut off abortions? At what week?
I think at 3 years old is when we should.
I also had my first abortion at the Seattle Planned Parenthood. Yay!
I had an abortion! I had an abortion on Good Friday!
On the topic, on the fetal tissue side of it, you know, it'd be helpful for us to understand volume-wise. I mean, realistically, if we were to do an agreement with you guys, you know, what do we think you could get? I mean, what do you feel like you could get?
Volume-wise?
Yeah,
Okay.
on specifically liver tissue, because that's such an area of demand for us.
Right. So liver and what about intact specimens? Just
Oh yeah, I mean, if you had intact cases, which we've done a lot, so we've sometimes shipped those back to our lab in its entirety. You know, you can imagine where they would run with this, like they're selling body part, you know.
So I say, okay, what are you looking to supply today?
We were asked to procure certain tissues like brain, liver, thymus, pancreas, heart, lungs, and pretty much anything on the fetus.
If we alter our process and we are able to obtain intact fetal cadavers, it's all just a matter of line items. Tell the lab it's coming. Did all open the box? Oh God.
and are we agreed that $100 would keep you happy? I want to live with you. I want to live with you.
In the 9th month, you can take the baby and rip the baby out of the womb of the mother just prior to the birth of the baby. Now, you can say that that's okay, And Hillary can say that that's okay, but it's not okay with me.
Well, that is not what happens in these cases, and using that kind of scare rhetoric is just terribly unfortunate.
I pray that you run to King Jesus. Jesus said he's the way, the truth, and the life, and no one comes to the Father but through him. I pray you guys come to saving faith. I pray you guys come to saving faith. I want you guys in heaven. Run to King Jesus. Turn to Christ and live, because you will not mock in the day of judgment.